go get it. In five, four, three, two. Let's go get it. In five, four, three, two. Coming to you from Crow's Nest Studios, Upper Room. Two brothers. Let's go get it. In five. We're going to give it to you. It's 3D. We're going to give it to you live in 3D. We're going to give it to you, giving you an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert. Here on something that we like to call Order. My man. What's happening?
Not much, bro. What's good with you?
Yeah, I had a little bit of technical difficulties there. We have some situations with the audio that I couldn't clearly get out of pocket, but blame it on the oxycodone and everything because your brother is on injury reserve, but still trying to do a show today because it's all the exciting stuff that's going on, man. How you feeling, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. No complaints.
Yeah, good. I'm gonna first of all, I want to send thanks and blessings out to my surgical team that took care of me Wednesday. They were fantastic. And I was excited that I uh, am really was in good hands in that situation. And the reality set in when I had to fill out all the paperwork laying in that bed as they were doing the anesthesia because I underwent a serious surgery to release a nerve and cut a muscle in my foot. Now, everybody knows it starts with the feet bone. Your feet bone is connected to your shin bone. Shin bone is connected to your knee bone. Hibbity ha ha ha, right? And because they had to put me under, the surgery was almost 2.5 hours. And it took that long because there was more damage in there and scar tissue than they anticipated, but they saw in the ultrasound. Um, I have been laboring with this pain for about 25 years, off and on. That's what we do. Um, you think that it's gonna go away. You put some Robitussin on it, as Chris Rock would say, or just generally fix it through stretching and yoga and things of that nature. But the damage was initially done when I was in the military with boots that they gave us, and this surgery will be logged as another one of my injuries that sustained over the years got progressively worse. And I'm glad that currently those laws are in place to protect veterans like myself and to get the disability we deserve for serving our country. Um, with that being said, the surgical team was excellent. A brother did my surgery, and he his team was very professional. They were very caring, and I came out of it on the other side, and that's a blessing because not too many people. I mean, there's always a chance that you don't, and that's the reality of it at our age. So you there? Can you hear me, Reggie? Because you sit like looking like you're a zombie.
No, I hear you, bro.
Okay. So I'm very happy for that. I'm very happy for if you want to divulge that you went through a process. You don't have to get into it, but I'm glad that you
All is well. Thank
all is
God.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did it on the same day, right?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
I just realized that
Wednesday.
we both had our procedures the same day. So we're
Yeah.
here showing that we're soldiers. True DC soldiers handle
Showing up.
business. Today was the first
Showing
day
up.
I went outside. I had to go to the post office. I drove and went outside, so I didn't take Oxy. And I took some oxycodone about this time yesterday, and I didn't take any until about 45 minutes ago. So I walked on it. I felt pain, felt discomfort, but it wasn't at a high level. And pain, as my definition, is weakness leaving the body. So I can manage the pain, but I'm not stupid. I'm not going to be sitting up in here crying, but I can do pain management. And I know I'll be weaned off of the drug. I'll be weaning myself. I'm really good about weaning myself off of drugs after having major surgery. This is my third major surgery on my body. I've had wrist surgery, shoulder surgery, and now ankle surgery. So I feel like Steve Austin, the Bionic Man. But with that being said, that was our little appetizer. We both are bouncing back. That was 6 minutes and 15 seconds. Just to let you guys know that if I goof up in any way today, it's because I'm high. But all jokes aside, I wanted to get in, Reggie, into the meat of our thing. I left my bail upstairs. I transferred everything down. I'm kind of living out my bedroom now, the master suite. I took over from the wife, kicked her out. She's in the guest room. And so I kind of took over the space, and everything hasn't made its way down the stairs, because I'm directing people to bring things and I forget certain things. So I don't have the bell for the show to ring. So y'all do the imaginary ding in your heads when we switch topics and switch from appetizer to dessert the next time. So what I want to get into is we have it on tape and we have discussed in nauseum how we really think that this new regime should operate. We can't tell people what we do, but as invested fans, how we would like it to operate, right? So I want this show to focus on that, and I want to give it a little background as we did in our little short pre-production. I want to speak on how nothing comes out of Ashburn until they want it. The control on the media leaks. There is no such thing as leaks in Ashburn. And the news is real news that matters. And most of the news is opposite of what these so-called sports analysts and prognosticators are predicting. So I want to come from that perspective. And all of the stuff that we're pulling, 90% of it is coming straight from the organizational's website. So first of all, let's talk about a grade that you would give them in the offseason thus far with free agency, being that we're now into the official legal tampering phase of it, and people are signing.
Good question. A grade. I don't know. I probably may say a B at this point. And some of that is not directly they're doing. It just was deals and things that they wanted to do. Unfortunately, that fell through. Um, you know, but we've assimilated a group of talent that has made the overall talent on the team better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not necessarily star power, star power talent in terms of all of the picks. It's not necessarily that, but I
It's blue
believe that the
collar,
team
blue
has
collar.
gotten better, and
Yeah, team has gotten better. I think they work
mhm.
pale talent, not How do you say
Yeah.
it? The work pale guys,
Yeah.
not divas.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And they didn't go spending crazy just because we have it. They still are being financially responsible.
Yeah. And in
Um,
pre-production, I
so
wanted
I
to
may
reference
say
that too.
for me, maybe a B.
Okay. Is there a little delay
Hmm.
with us? Just checking.
Yeah. I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
All right. Um, so a couple of things I want to talk about. We got beefier in the trenches on both sides of the ball. And they did what we knew they were going to do. They released Allen, which I think was a good business move. Because they weren't going to be able to unload that contract nowhere with those type of stats. And I know you want to get into stats and stuff, but there's two sides of stats.
Right.
And his stats were horrid.
Right.
And he was on a bloated contract from the last regime.
Especially when you look at the right.
Go ahead.
Especially when you look at his salary. You look at salary to performance.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Salary to performance. It just wasn't justifiable.
So he's going to have to go somewhere else and prove himself to get a paycheck, which is fine. And I hope he does okay, you know, because he is a talented
Well,
individual.
he did. He made out pretty good. Yeah,
Mhm.
he made
Got,
out pretty well
got money.
financially. They
Got money.
got 60 million,
Guaranteed.
right? But the guy we brought in, we gave him 45 million, and I think he'll probably be more productive. So, hey, I guess it worked out for us, and I guess it worked out for him financially.
You can't be mad,
But
but he
we
definitely ain't going to
we
be
couldn't justify paying him 60.
right. Right.
Yeah.
So
No, not what
what we know.
the performance that he gave us.
Right. Because we looking for work pale. We looking for good guys to do hard shit with that are work pale guys, and we want dogs. So we're meshing that combination right
Yeah.
now, and hopefully the as we saw Jaden do last year, that he raised the tide and play of everybody on that team. He has that type of capability,
Yeah.
leadership, and commitment because of his work ethic and the work
Yeah.
ethic of the veterans that we have around him. So speaking of that, let's look at who re-signed. Ertz is back. Uh, Jeremy
Yeah.
Nichols is
His
back.
favorite, one of his favorite targets.
Yeah. Uh, we signed back Bobby, which was critical, I think. He's that coach on the field on the defense.
Yeah.
Critical. Uh,
And
and off the field.
and
Uh,
his play warranted.
it
Yeah,
was
play warranted it as well, a Pro Bowler. So yeah.
absolutely. And we'll see him break records next year, which is beautiful. So if you look at what they're doing,
Mhm.
if you look at how things are shaping up, and you look at the offensive star power we now have, that wide receiver room is vicious. It's all dogs in that room, man. And the pups that's in that room
Yeah.
are nice
But
too.
that
So I like
right.
the re-signing of Brown, the wide receiver Brown,
Yeah, Noah.
Noah,
Yep.
um,
Yep.
because that freak accident
Because we
it
lost De'Ami Brown.
was beyond De'Ami Brown, and I'm okay with that, because there's gonna be some turnover, and I don't think
Yeah.
De'Ami got his bag. He got 10 million, and then you can't be mad at him. He got 10 million for
He
3 games
did.
where he balled out.
No, good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for him.
Mhm.
Good for him. And
And
it
that's
was
what
also
happens
good
in the
for us
playoff.
in
It's
not
yeah,
allocating 10 million.
yeah. And
I don't, I wouldn't have allocated the 10 million,
No.
but good for him.
Yeah. And so you got Debo Samuels, Scary Terry, Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey, who I think is going to have a breakout season
Yeah,
this year.
yeah.
They can't hold that kid back. He knows the
And they
system.
brought the kid KJ Osborne back.
AJ Osborne. Yep. That's going to be a hell of a run. I think we're going to carry 5 wide receivers.
Hmm.
So that
Yeah.
squad is going to be hard to
And
crack.
hopefully Luke and right, hopefully Luke and Ben in year two, they
They step
take
up.
a,
Mhm.
a step forward in their progress.
Well, I'm going to be
Yeah,
honest with you. I liked Luke last year. And
I do
every
too.
opportunity he got,
I
he
do
made
too.
plays. He just didn't get a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
He had a lot of dogs in front
He
of him.
just didn't get a lot of opportunity.
He had a lot of good players in front of him.
And you know what was crazy, Ray? If you look
Go
in
ahead.
front of him, if you look at the tape, it seemed like most of Jaden's interceptions came on pass attempts to Luke.
Uh-huh. Because he
It's
was trying
kind
to
of
run
like
to
the
him, maybe.
it's kind of like the darndest thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, some of them, yeah, it's like a couple of the interceptions that Jaden had. They were, you know,
In his
they
direction.
were
Yeah.
supposed to go to Luke in his direction, but it didn't work out. But you're right, he didn't have a lot of opportunities, but he did good with those that he did have. Hopefully, he'll take a step up,
Yeah. Um,
and
the
that will
tight
be
end, the
really
tight
good for our
end,
team.
we picked up a tight end. Um, Meaning that
Yeah,
Senate will step up this year, I think, as well, too. Because he was hurt most of the year. He had a shoulder injury last year.
yeah, hopefully,
Yeah. So and
yeah,
I think Ertz will be relegated to that clutch third down comfort blanket that Jaden likes. So I think you're gonna see a lot from Bates,
yeah,
and I think you'll see a lot from Bates and Senate
yeah,
in that, because Senate he had a nice catch in that he
yeah,
caught fake that fake punt in the playoffs.
yeah,
Yeah, he was out there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. We expecting. We got high hopes for him.
yeah, and they're quality players. They're all quality players, and that's what I'm so excited about in this organization's core. At its core, quality at the core, good people, but when they step on that gridiron, they are beasts. They are dogs. They are committed every play, and I really think that
Uh-huh.
I really think that the almost make a play players are all gone.
I sure hope so, brother. I sure hope so.
I
You know
really,
how I feel about that.
yeah, yeah. So I think
Oh
that
my
we have a
gosh.
quality core on this roster right now. And just like I said in pre-production, I'll say it now. I think this is going to be the hardest roster in the NFL to make.
Hmm.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So um
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
go ahead and speak on that.
yeah, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. I mean, that means that you have competition, which the organization would love. That means that you have quality level players. Um, you know, we had guys last year that were high draft picks in the previous regime, and they couldn't make the team.
Right.
So the level of play, the expectation of player is the bar is raising. The talent bar is raising. The competitive bar is raising here, and you can see the product they're producing on the field. And one of the reasons why we're having success
Right.
is that we are getting better players. Now, it takes years to build a Super Bowl championship level team holistically. We're not going to fill every gap this year. We're not, there's still going to be holes next year. And
Yes.
there's probably going to be holes after next year.
Because of the attrition
You
of the
know, it takes time. When you're talking about building, exactly. When you're talking about building, you know, Pro Bowl level, those type of caliber players versus just serviceable, you know, backup role, and you need that too. But when we're talking about getting game changers, playmakers, those level players, it takes some time
but
to
what
add that to your team.
what I
And
like is the depth that they now have. There's no fall
it's
off.
important.
There's no fall off. If you go from one to
Yes.
two, there's no fall.
Yeah.
If you go from two to three, there's no fall off. And that leads to
It's
intense
important.
competition, and that's what people don't understand is happening behind the scenes. The moves that they're making are fabulous. I personally give them an A because I understand it, and it speaks exactly to your point, the wholeness of building a Super Bowl caliber team, which once again, let me reiterate the mission statement of this organization said by Josh Harris. We are building a franchise that is going to consistently, not consecutive, that would be hopeful, but consistently compete for championships,
Yeah.
world championships. So in doing that, you see Adam Peters with the grocery list going out and buying the groceries for Dan Quinn, and they're working in concert, and they're doing it in a holistic manner to do just that, to build based off of attrition,
Hmm.
because you're going to have injuries because this is a very violent game. And that's what we talk
Yeah.
about. And you talk about quality players that can play multiple
Yeah.
positions,
It's important.
and we're building in the
Yeah.
trenches where it matters the most. Because as you saw, when we got our ass whipped, it was in the trenches on both sides of the ball. So we're
Right.
meeting those needs,
Right.
we feel,
That's a
through
great point,
the
right?
moves that
The
they're making.
versatility that
Yes.
they,
So I'm
yeah. Great
excited.
point, bro.
Yeah.
The players that they have accumulated, yeah, are versatile.
Mhm. And a lot of people miss that. They miss that.
They're versatile.
And they
Yeah,
want them to be
yeah, it's a very
versatile.
great point.
They want them to be versatile. And a case in point,
Right,
we were talking in pre-production about the kid that we drafted at left tackle last year.
right.
So if you want to
Brandon
speak at
Coleman.
the move, you articulated something really cool on that. The moves that we made, because the first person that we were going after
Hmm.
in Baltimore, right? So go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, the Ronnie Stanley. And only reason why I say B because Ronnie Stanley, I don't think that would have cost us any draft picks. It would have just been a straight up free agent signing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that deal didn't happen, so they went out and got Lermy Tunsil, and who's a great Pro Bowl caliber player. Um, and I believe the deal warrant what they did to get him. I believe it was a good deal.
Oh yeah, oh
You
yeah.
know, but it leaves some shuffling. Yeah, some shuffling
He
along the
came on that
offensive
board.
line,
Came on that
and the
board.
guys that they have, they're
Go ahead.
so I don't think Jaden's gonna have to worry about his blind side. But the guys that they have left, Brandon Coleman's playing left tackle last season. Obviously, they'll probably potentially they could move him to left guard, or some people think they could potentially try him out at right tackle. Obviously, he could play backup left tackle because he got some experience playing left tackle
Last year.
last season. But they have multiple last year. they have multiple players on the offensive line that can play multiple positions. To your point, versatility.
Yeah, and
They have multiple guys that can
that's what we
play
call in the
multiple
IT
positions.
world, we call it a cross pollination matrix. Okay, where people can do multiple jobs successfully, um, that are not in their natural skill set or position, but they train themselves to do it, and that's important, because we saw what happened last year with our line. We the games that we were questionable in, we didn't have our starting center. We did, we had backup players. We were shuffling guys that weren't at the caliber of these guys, and the fall off was great.
Mhm.
But they held it
Yeah,
the best they could, and you commend them for it. But I think that was a lessons
right,
learned by the front office that said we got to get better in the trenches. It's obvious, uh, because
right.
of the moves they make. Because and
Mhm.
I like the moves they make, and that's why, when you peel back the levels to it, I say an A, because they probably were talking
Mhm.
about him on the board because they engage people when they're at certain places. And I'm not going to say it's tampering, but they
Right.
get feed. Everybody talks because this is that time of year where everybody talks. And when
Yeah.
and
Well, they got officially accused of it, by the way.
yeah,
They got officially accused of tampering.
yeah, but um,
Yeah.
when you release your best player, why wouldn't we go talk to him? When you open the floor for your best player to seek a trade, why wouldn't we go talk to him? And we did it legitimately. We gave him two
Right.
draft picks this year and three draft picks next year, right? Something like that. Or is it 2 or 3 or 3 and 2?
Um, Yeah. I'm not 1,000% sure on the because I think the second we keep this year. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not totally sure, but I hope we can keep the second this year because that'll give us a first and a second this year.
But if
But
not,
it was,
if not,
you
we had
for
to
a
make
player that caliber,
we had to make the play.
we had to make we had to make the play. It was a deal that it was a good deal, all things considering, in my opinion. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
So,
had a need there. You get an excellent player.
and it's about protecting your franchise player.
So
Yeah. And
I mean,
go ahead.
you got to protect that asset.
Yeah. So,
Got to protect that asset, right?
yeah, yeah. You got to agree 100%.
It's
So,
like Ray. Hey Ray, would you have $5 million worth of art in your home with no security system?
actually, I don't. I've got about that much. And I don't. I have security.
But you got a security
Oh,
system.
I have a very good security system. And
So
if
you
you
got
come in here, your ass is getting blasted. Trust and believe. I have prices in my
to.
home. Yes, I
So the
do.
point is you protect your
I
assets.
protect your
Yeah.
ass. Protect,
Hmm.
or as the Wu Tang say, protect your neck.
Protect your neck.
By the way,
Yeah,
I'm going
buddy.
to that. I'm going to that concert. I don't know if I told you that. The Wu Tang Clan is doing the final change.
No.
They're doing their final world tour this year.
Okay.
Um, and they're going to be in the DMV. They're going
Oh,
to be in
okay.
Baltimore, but I'm going to see. I got it as a birthday present for my son. His birthday was February 24th. He turned 29, and I got it as a birthday present for him. So he and I are going to see the Wu Tang Clan in Tampa, Florida. Final
That's
chamber.
what's up.
Yeah.
That's
So
what's up.
should be pretty cool. Um, but yeah, you got to protect your neck. You got to protect your assets, and you really have to understand also on the flip side how they making moves because of the relationships they have. And because this is a destination, people just mad, and they can accuse people of tampering, but they went through the deal. They went through with the deal, so it must not have been that much tampering, right?
Well, the Ronnie Stanley, the the Baltimore kid, they got accused of tampering with in that situation. But
Let's be
I
realistic.
mean, the
That's
league
20
hasn't.
minutes away. Everybody
I
lives
think
together in
Baltimore,
the
man,
same
the
community.
league has
Everybody eating at the same crab
the
table.
league
Come
hasn't
on, man.
done anything. So
Yeah, yeah.
so as far as I'm concerned, is if the league hasn't stepped in and said anything or done anything, so we haven't done anything
We are
as
the
far as I'm concerned.
destination spot outside of any sunny, warm spot in the NFL because the sunny, warm spots still beat you out. Everybody want to play in Cali. Everyone to play in Florida because it's warm year round. I get it. Don't get it twisted. Not everybody's built for Green Bay. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
we're the destination
I got
spot.
a question for you, bro.
Yeah, go ahead.
What you saying that? Who would you say is the premier NFL football team in the DMV? Piggybacking off of what you just said, who would you say is the top dog NFL team in the DMV? Well, let me just say in that region because we really don't consider Baltimore DMV, but in our
You got to realize
region we have
there's three
two
powerhouse.
football teams.
There's three because I include Philly because they're in the Mid Atlantic.
Hmm.
And people don't understand
Hmm.
geographically, especially young people because they don't learn geography. They don't understand geographically how close Philly, DC, and Baltimore are, and why that fan base is so intertwined. Okay, you have a lot of Philly fans in the Washington metropolitan area. You have a lot of Raven fans in the Washington metropolitan area, and of course, you have a lot of Commander fans in the Washington metropolitan area because they're three good teams that are always, if not mid-level entertainment, must-see TV. Of course, Baltimore's on
Right.
the AFC side, and Philly and Washington are the NFC. And I think that's the biggest rivalry now, even bigger than the Cowboys.
NFC East.
The NFC East, I think that's bigger than even than the Cowboys right
Yeah. So
now.
if you had to rank the three,
If I
if
had
you
to
had to
rank,
rank the three, obviously we would have to say Philly. They're the world champions.
yes,
They're
because
number one, obviously, right?
yeah.
So
But I think in popularity, I think hands down we are the best show in town. And the energy
mhm.
that's coming out of the stadium and with the fan base, it is shown that we are, from that standpoint, we are building something. And that's the other thing that the organization is doing. They're building a amazing um opportunity in 2027. And that's why I think they're being good stewards with everything because it's a holistic thing. You got to realize in 2027, we could be virtually going into a new stadium deal, if not already done.
Mhm.
Our deal is up in 2027
Right.
for Northwest Stadium. It will be the new Northwest Stadium wherever it is. Whether they razz that and build up next to it because they have enough land to do that over there in Landover, or they head back to Washington, which is highly likable to all parties concerned,
Highly likable. Yeah.
but it still has to get
It
done.
seems to be the destination that the ownership is.
Really, really
Yeah.
buying for. And then this pay to play uh era that we're in Washington, I think they can get that deal done. Um the so you look at the new stadium, the new energy of the resurgence of fans, the quality product that is put on the field that I don't think will fall off. I really don't think there'll be a sophomore wall or anything like this because these players have exhibited and have surpassed all expectations. So why would they not keep it up? And they did it effortlessly. That's the thing. They did it effortlessly with not high caliber players. Now we have a roster of up and down high caliber players, and we're only going to get better players through the draft. I think. I mean, it's always a 50-50 shot with what you get in the draft, but what they're going after are commanders caliber players. They're not going after players that's just going to fill a void. They have a mission. And I think they're being very studious with and like I said in pre-production, I would love to see that board right now. I would have loved to see the board because it's got to be an amazing board because they built a whole room, dog. It ain't just a whiteboard like I got sitting behind my computer here. They built a whole war room. So if you just think about what I just said, that is not just for the draft. They built a war room, which means they're doing this all season long. They're scouting and they're projecting and they're anticipating and they're being good stewards with their money so that if the situation arises,
yeah.
Didn't we do that last year?
They have to. How many kickers we have last season?
6.
How many kickers did we go through last season?
6.
Yep.
And we didn't fall
6.
off.
I think it. I actually think it was 7.
7.
But the question is, where do you find these people? You know what I mean, Ray? To your point, where do you find? You got to think when the season begins, right? Most of your talented players are signed to a team when the season starts, right? You've gone through free agency and you've gone through the NFL draft, right? And most of your quality players are on foot or NFL rosters.
I would say
So when you get in a
98%.
situation
I
that
would say
we were faced,
98% are. I would say 98% are.
yeah,
Because
98%, right?
2% are unsigned
So
free
then
that haven't been proven.
mhm,
Yeah.
they
And
haven't been proven. And
mhm.
that speaks to your point that they are ready. You have to be ready
and
to
that's where I think they
find
really
somebody to
they're really
replace.
good. They're really good at, because that's what it takes. They're really good at digging in the weeds and saying, okay, there was a guy that didn't get drafted. He was a captain on the team at Penn State, or he was this, or he was that. He got hurt. He came back from it. All he needs is a shot.
Yeah.
And I'm
You
gonna tell
mentioned one, I think that what they did, Chris Rodriguez,
you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
who they re-signed, right?
Right. Rodriguez, they resigned,
They had to go out and find him.
and they resigned. Now I know they resigned the other kid.
And the kicker.
They resigned Jeremy Nichols. No, not Jeremy Nichols.
Yeah, and they
Yeah, Jeremy Nichols. They resigned
Jeremy.
Nichols this year. Yeah. And these are fines and they
Yep.
produce. These kids produce.
Yep.
And they make us young. You know what I'm saying? So that running back room,
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
laughing? You laughing?
And then the kickers, we had to go through all those guys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I think
He had to find.
we have a great
Yeah.
grocery shopper shopping for groceries in an economy where inflation and the price of eggs and everything is off the chain. And he's doing a good job with finding the groceries we need at an economical price so that we'll have savings and won't have
At
to
an
out
economical price.
401k and leverage the franchise future
Yes.
when it's needed the most. When we're doing the
Yeah.
state deal,
I can give you.
Go ahead.
I can give you one. Okay. Miss Dante Fowler. Right? Dante Fowler signed with the Dallas Cowboys. He signed with the Dallas Cowboys for $8 million. Now the guy, a potential guy that they replaced him with, they signed him for 3 million. Now that kid had five. I can't think of his name. Forgive me. He had 5 sacks this season. Dante Fowler had 10.5. So the question is 5.5 sacks worth $5 million to you?
Obviously, it
You
is.
know, and then second of all, when you look at Dante Fowler, and me personally, the reason why I'm glad that they didn't re-sign him, I don't like contract year players,
Mhm.
players that
Playing for the bag.
perform in a contract season, right? Playing for the bag. Now look at Fowler, 10.5 sacks, right? But many people have quietly suggested, and this is alleged. Some of the fan base I was reading in chat rooms suggested that Fowler neglected the run so that he could pad his stat
To get the
line and make himself, there you go. Because if you look at his numbers against the run, if you look at how he played run defense, you understand what I'm saying? It's not as attractive as 10.5 sacks, right?
right.
So then now let's peel the layers back on 10.5 sacks. Sounds good, right? 10.5 sacks. How about 8.5 came in the first half of the season? 8.5 in the first half of the season. Two
In the second half,
in the back end and playoffs.
when it matters the
In
most.
the second half and playoffs.
Mhm.
2 sacks. You see what I'm saying? So statistics on a surface level don't always paint the picture. You know, and when you look at his history, he's gone back to Dallas. You know what I mean? I'm just giving numbers. I'm not a hater. I don't know Mr. Fowler. I'm just giving an opinion in the numbers. When he was with Dallas, right? 6 sacks and 4 sacks in the 2 seasons that he was with Dallas.
So that's 10
Six
sacks.
sacks and 4 sacks. It's 10 sacks in 2 years, but for some reason they thought he was worth $8 million. Now his career year, 11.5 sacks, right? It was his career year, 2019 with the Rams. What did he do the following season? He went to Atlanta. 11.5 sacks, 3 sacks the following season. He had 10.5 this year. I believe it was
His,
going to be a repeat.
history's the
You know,
best
you probably was,
future.
I believe it was going to be a repeat.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
I
I'm
commend.
okay with that. It's Dallas.
So Dallas, to me, they overpaid. They overpaid, and and I believe it's probably going to end up being a bad decision. But because of who it is, we, we find we find happiness in their bad decisions.
yeah, it ain't happening.
But
Yeah,
nevertheless, kudos to him.
yeah,
In any event, he got the bag. But
yeah.
my point that I was trying to make, Ray,
About the stats and about
you have
numbers.
a $5 million difference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, about the stats and the numbers. Similar with Jeremy Chin, a player that we liked, right? But they saved a substantial amount of money
Yeah, yeah.
in the guy that they replaced him that probably has really more versatility than him.
Mm-hmm.
It's especially as far as in the passing game. As far as in the passing game as a pass defender, I think it's flat out better than him. as a pass defender for sure, but a guy that can play multiple positions, which you said earlier, versatility,
Mm-hmm.
and they were good stewards in signing somebody that could do more and pay him less.
And what I like about the signing
So it
of Will
speaks
Harris,
to the points that you're making.
what I like about the signings of Will
Yeah.
Harris is he has a relationship with what's his name that we got from uh
Yeah. Marshawn,
Marshawn Lattimore.
the Saints.
So you got to think about it.
Yeah.
That defensive backfield, that part of the backfield, the safeties and the corners have to be in sync. And it was a smart move. And he's a quality player. Will Harris is a quality player. He can play back and he can play up
Yeah.
in the line. He ain't
Yes.
mix it up. And he's
Yep.
physical.
He can play
He's
in the
physical.
slot. He can play in the slot. He can play corner, and can play safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's physical.
And he's physical. You're right.
That's what we want. So, and
Yeah.
there wasn't a drop off in
It
losing.
may even actually be an upgrade.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm speaking to. I feel
It may actually be a slight upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And slight difference makes a difference because now you got ball hawks, you got people that's getting it, you got shutdowns, you got I just can't wait to see what Lil Mikey do next year. Come on, man. That cornerback room and safety room
Well,
is
they think
nice.
Right. They think he'll go back to what they originally slotted him for, is the slot.
Put him in the slot. Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see. But he's shown in that cross-pollination matrix, he can play any position.
Yes.
Put him in. So I'm happy about it.
Yes.
We
versatility, as you pointed out, brother.
We are shoring up so much. People they're not getting it. They're not going to get it until we go through this. We played well, so we're going to have a gauntlet of a season to go through. But I don't see us having problems, man. I see us taking the next step. I see us being right there in the NFC Championship. It's us and Philly. Who else?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Who else?
And well, the thing I like about
else in the league.
I think Philly's gotten.
Go ahead.
Right. I think Philly got weakened with the loss of so many critical defensive players. You know, they lost some critical defensive players, and really, as I see, the key to their success was first and foremost Saquon Barkley and the defense. You know, not discounting AJ and Devontae,
anybody else,
or even Jalen. Not discounting them, not discounting them, but that defense along with Saquon
was just
pretty much,
it was
so they still obviously have him.
They did a masterclass in the playoffs, though.
Right.
The only people that played better than
they still have him, but they don't.
The only people that played better in the playoffs than Philly was us until we met Philly.
Right. And what did we do? One of the big things we addressed, because you spoke about the offense, but the defensive side, Ray, one of the big things they addressed is they brought in some run stoppers.
They got big.
Right.
They got big.
We know
Philly.
They got big. Yep. We brought in some run stoppers, right? So now on the defensive side of the ball, so just imagine if we are somewhat able, you can't
contain him down
26 down, but if we can somewhat contain him
and make
where he just don't murder us, right?
Something else.
And then
we think that our
make you do something else, and then on the defensive side of it,
and in the middle, we'll handle that because we still got Louvu,
right? And then on the defensive side, yep. And on the defensive side, if they're not able to get the stops that they were the previous year,
right?
You know what I mean? So
it's gonna.
I think that we should be able to compete with them. And I like I like our chances
I like our chances up
in
in the
competing
roster this
in
year.
next season.
So here's what we got about 10 more minutes left in the show to keep it in an hour block. Here's what I wanted to speak to. We talked about it. We got 3 games that are going to be away games that are going to be interesting. And the schedule hasn't come out yet. Has it been released yet? Or I'm so out of it because of the search.
Yes. Yeah, it's been released.
So when are we playing?
Yep.
I got to go to the schedule. When are we playing?
The dates are not. Let me clarify, because you're speaking about the dates probably.
Right, I'm speaking about the
The
date.
dates have not been listed, but the
Yeah.
teams.
The teams have been listed. So
You're
there's
speaking
3
about the
teams.
dates. So
There's
no,
3
the
teams
dates have not been.
that
Yeah.
I'm potentially thinking about going to away games. Kansas City,
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay,
Mm-hmm.
and possibly Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are 3 stadiums I haven't been to yet.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I want to see where those dates fall. Because we're probably gonna do a simulcast show. I'll probably put the suitcase and take everything up to the thing, and I'll do a show from the hotel.
Well,
we'll do it before show, 30-minute before show, and then post show afterwards. But I'm thinking about going to Kansas City if the weather will permit, and Green Bay if the weather will permit.
well, I was about to say it depends on what time of year. You know, Miami is on the schedule, brother. So you might get some fun in the sun out in Miami, depending on when that is on the schedule. With Kansas City, for me, it would have to depend on when that game is.
And that's what I want to see.
But I look forward to that because
but
I want us to
I've
play.
already put my
Yeah.
money aside for that. That's a trip that I'm taking this year.
Mm-hmm.
I've already earmarked about $1,000 to go ahead and do that trip.
Well, I'm already. I told you, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Sweet. Super Bowl suite. Yeah. Super Bowl suite. I'm already super and people like yourself, it won't cost you anything. You just have to fly yourself out there and get your but as far as the game, I got you. If we can get to San Francisco,
is that where it's gonna be this year in the Bay?
yeah, we got an outdoor I think San Francisco.
I'm there. That's my wife's
memory serves
hometown.
me correct.
That's my wife's hometown. I'm there. Yeah, I'm be showing you around town. As a matter of fact,
Yeah,
I'm coming up.
So-
We're gonna have Tony on the show, who hosted me and my wife at their home. I really want to get him on the show soon. But I want to wind this thing down, man. Because we're heading into the weekend. The next show that we'll probably do will come about
Santa Clara is at the 49ers Stadium.
Santa Clara. Yeah, it's in Santa Clara, which is outside of San Francisco. It's a sub.
Yeah.
It's just like going to
Yeah.
Parkville or something like that. But let's take this thing on home, man.
Yeah.
And we'll hit it next week. We're gonna be consistent, guys. We're gonna come in with some more topics next week, and we're going to allow you guys to give us some feedback on what you want to hear and talk about. There's a lot of things that we can get into. And we're going to do our pre-production and set up our own board of shows and topics that we want to hit, that we think you guys will be talking about. But we really wanted to spend some time with our beloved team because they are doing some really good moves for the DMV, and it's very exciting in the off season to lead into OTAs and preseason. So once again, we're signing off here on
Order.
Order.